The federal government spends over $770 billion a year buying things from private companies, and by law, a real chunk of that has to go to small businesses. Here's the part almost nobody knows. For a huge number of these contracts, the government isn't required to get 5 competing bids. Sometimes it only needs 2. Sometimes, under a certain dollar amount, it doesn't need a competition at all. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through 20 categories of government contracts that are open right now, today, with almost no competition, and none of them require a law degree, a lobbyist, or an office in Washington, D.C. Most of these you can start bidding on from a laptop at your kitchen table. Stick around for the last one. It's not even a contract you bid on directly. It's a business that gets paid by every other business on this list. And once you see how it works, you won't be able to unsee it. Let's get into it. Number 1, janitorial and custodial services. Every federal building, VA hospital, and military base needs someone cleaning it, every single day, forever. Under the government's simplified acquisition threshold, contracts under $150,000 are automatically set aside for small businesses, and janitorial work almost always falls right into that range. Nobody dreams about owning a cleaning company. That's exactly why the competition here is thinner than almost anywhere else on this list. Number 2, landscaping and grounds maintenance. National cemeteries, federal courthouses, VA campuses, national parks. All of it needs mowing, trimming, and seasonal upkeep on a recurring contract. Startup costs are low, a commercial mower and a trailer, and once you land one facility, the contract typically renews year after year without you having to rebid from scratch. Number 3, snow removal. In any state that gets real winter, federal buildings, post offices, and military installations all need their lots and walkways cleared before the workday starts. These contracts get posted every single fall, and most small contractors never even think to look, because it doesn't sound like a real business. It is. It's seasonal, it's predictable, and it pays. Number 4, document shredding and destruction. Every government agency generates sensitive paperwork it's legally required to destroy on a schedule. That means recurring pickup contracts, month after month, for a service that costs almost nothing to start beyond a commercial shredder or a partnership with a shredding truck operator. Paperwork never stops being created, which means this contract never stops renewing. Number 5, uniform and apparel supply. Postal workers, corrections officers, park rangers, transit employees. All of them wear a uniform the government has to keep supplying. These are steady, repeat purchase contracts through GSA schedules, and once you're an approved vendor, you're not rebidding constantly. You're just fulfilling the same order again and again. Number 6, promotional and branded merchandise. Agencies run public safety campaigns, recruiting events, and community outreach programs, and every one of them needs branded materials, from safety pamphlets to event giveaways. It sounds too small to matter, but these purchases happen constantly across thousands of agency offices, and almost no small business bothers chasing them because the category sounds unserious. Number 7, translation and interpretation services. Courts, hospitals, immigration offices, and social services agencies are legally required to provide interpretation for people who don't speak English, and demand for this keeps climbing every year. If you're bilingual, or you can build a network of certified interpreters, this is one of the most consistently underbid categories in government contracting, because most contractors don't think to look outside construction and IT. Number 8, courier and mail delivery. Government offices constantly need documents, records, and packages moved between buildings, sometimes across town, sometimes across a whole city. These are small, local, unglamorous contracts, and that's exactly why they get almost no attention from bigger firms who are chasing bigger checks. Number 9, unarmed security guard services. Not every federal or state facility needs armed guards. A huge number just needs someone checking badges at a front desk or walking a perimeter at night. These contracts are steady, they renew annually, and the barrier to entry is a lot lower than most people assume, since armed contracts are a completely different and far more competitive category. Number 10, pest control. Courthouses, schools, military housing, and government office buildings all need routine pest control on a scheduled contract. It is about as unglamorous as government work gets, which means almost nobody is actively chasing it, even though it renews like clockwork every single year. Now here's where this list shifts. Everything up to this point has been about physical work done on site. From here forward, we move into contracts where you're selling expertise, staffing, or specialized service instead of labor, and the contract values start climbing fast. Number 11. HVAC and facility maintenance. Federal buildings are old, and old buildings break down constantly. Agencies regularly sign multi-year maintenance contracts for heating, cooling, and general facility upkeep, and because this work requires licensing and technical skill, the pool of qualified small business bidders is much smaller than in categories like landscaping or cleaning. Number 12. IT staffing. Government agencies are in the middle of a major digital modernization push, and most of them don't have enough in-house technical staff to keep up. Staffing firms that can supply help desk technicians, network administrators, and support staff on contract are filling a gap that's only getting wider as agencies keep adding new systems faster than they can hire for them. Number 13. Environmental remediation and testing. This is one of the fastest growing and least competitive categories in government contracting right now. Solicitation volume in environmental services grew 40% in a single quarter this year, and on average, fewer than 4 vendors are bidding on each opportunity. That's a massive demand-to-competition gap sitting wide open, and almost nobody outside the environmental industry knows it exists. Number 14. Moving and relocation services. Every time a federal employee gets reassigned, their household goods need to move with them, and the General Services Administration contracts this out constantly. It's steady, recurring, unglamorous work, and it renews with every single relocation cycle across every single agency. Number 15. Medical and clinical staffing. VA hospitals, military bases, and federal prisons are chronically short on nurses and clinical staff, and they fill that gap through staffing contracts. The pay per placement is significantly higher than most categories on this list because qualified clinical staff are hard to find and the need never lets up. Number 16. Background investigation services. Every security clearance the government issues requires a background investigation, and there's currently a massive backlog of clearances waiting to be processed. Firms that conduct these investigations are in high demand, and it's a category most small business owners never even consider because it sounds like something only a government agency itself could do. Number 17. Training and curriculum development. Agencies constantly need custom training built and delivered, compliance training, safety training, leadership development. If you can design a course and deliver it well, agencies will pay you to build something once and then license or repeat it across departments for years. Number 18. ADA compliance consulting. Every government facility is legally required to meet accessibility standards, and most of them have never been properly audited. A consultant who can walk a building, identify violations, and recommend fixes is solving a legal liability problem for the agency, which means this work gets prioritized and paid for quickly once someone finally points it out. Number 19. Fleet vehicle maintenance. Postal fleets, police fleets, sanitation fleets. Government agencies operate enormous numbers of vehicles, and their in-house maintenance shops are constantly overwhelmed. Private repair shops that can take on overflow work through a standing contract have a steady, recurring stream of vehicles coming through the door. And now, number 20, the one I told you to remember. It's cybersecurity compliance consulting, specifically helping other small businesses get certified to even qualify for government contracts in the first place. Here's what's happening. The Department of Defense now requires contractors handling sensitive information to be certified under a cybersecurity framework before they're allowed to bid on certain contracts at all. New rules that took effect at the end of 2025 tightened this even further heading into 2026. Most small businesses on this entire list, the janitorial companies, the staffing firms, the moving companies, have no idea how to get certified, what the requirements actually are, or how to prove compliance without hiring an expensive full-time compliance officer they can't afford. That's the gap. A consultant who understands this framework can walk a small business through what needs to change, help them document it, and get them certified to bid on contracts they'd otherwise be locked out of completely. You're not competing for the janitorial contract, or the moving contract, or the staffing contract. You're getting paid by the company that's trying to win it. This is the business that sits above every other business on this list. Every single company on here eventually runs into the same wall, proving they're secure enough and compliant enough to be trusted with government work, and almost none of them know how to climb over it on their own. Here's the thing about every single business on this list. None of it requires connections in Washington. None of it requires a law degree or a lobbyist or a background in politics. What it requires is a willingness to look at a category so boring that nobody else bothered to check if the door was open. The government isn't hiding these opportunities. They're posted publicly, searchable by anyone, sitting right there in plain sight. The only reason they stay uncontested is that most people assume government contracting means fighter jets and multi-million-dollar defense deals, so they never even look at the janitorial listing, the shredding contract, or the pest control renewal sitting one click away. You don't need to chase all 20. Pick the one category where you already have some relevant experience, whether that's cleaning, staffing, IT, or compliance, and go look up what's actually posted in your state right now. Not the biggest contract, just the first one you're qualified to bid on. If one of these 20 surprised you, drop a comment and tell me which one. If you know someone who's been trying to find a way into government work without knowing where to start, send them this video. And if you made it all the way to the end, hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.